Everyone, I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thanks for spending some time with us. Wish casting versus governing. That's the focus of tonight's angle. So after the mayoral victory of her Ugandan-born mini-me, she felt like she had the world on a socialist string. Her party would have to take her seriously now because AOC doesn't just know how to mix a mean, skinny marg. She knows how to win elections. And that girl can dance. Pretty good, right? You got the beat? Well, feeling very powerful, a little heady, feeling confident means you can vent with impunity.
Should Chuck Schumer stay as minority leader?
I think what is so important for folks to understand is that this problem is bigger than one person, and it actually is bigger than the minority leader in the Senate. You had 8 Senate Democrats who coordinated their own votes on this.
Yeah, they actually thought for themselves? Wow, I didn't know that wasn't allowed in today's Democrat Party. But for a woman who's supposedly leading a people-centered movement, she's blissfully unconcerned about her constituents when they were not eating, her supporters stranded at airports, and her federal employees in, her district not getting paid. She was thinking about power, not about Americans like this.
We didn't hurt anybody. We don't deserve this.
What does having this distribution mean?
It means a lot to me. It means the world to me what they're doing, because sometimes you feel forgotten. The last paycheck we got was for 7 days through the end of September. And that's it.
Yeah, the shutdown squad didn't care. And after demonstrating raw stupidity and rank callousness, the Queen of Queens believes she's getting Trump voters to flip.
I fully welcome Trump voters into our coalition. I can't tell you how many times someone has pulled me aside and said either I was once a big Trump voter and a Trump supporter and I watched Fox News every day, but then I started to kind of expand my world and where I got information, or people who meet me who are really big Republicans now, and they are shocked when they meet me because they're like, you are nothing like I was told you are.
Oh, well, she's fun, right? Seems very fun. But is there a living American with brain synapses still firing who actually believes what she just said? Of course not. But AOC isn't only the progressive out there with delusions of grandeur.
I remember when we were doing our art competition in my district, and obviously it's open to all the kids in the district. And I remember a father coming up to me and telling me, I appreciate you for doing this competition. My daughter loved participating. I am a Republican, but I love you. They love me.
I suggest an over-the-counter earwax removal kit, because if it was an actual Republican that came up to her, you probably heard, I loathe, not I love you. But none of this should surprise us, because their stock in trade is the selling of fantasies. The fantasy of giving people endless free stuff, the fantasy of providing affordable care to all without unsustainable government subsidies, the fantasy that women would tolerate men invading their sports and their private spaces. Come on. Look, all of it was a vicious, cruel lie. Socialism with a smile can be popular on Insta, but it's still socialism, and it always produces the same result: scarcity, bureaucracy, poverty, conformity, and dependency. And as for the president, whose main focus has been to try to bring industry back to the United States, to create opportunities for Americans of all backgrounds, they consider him not a potential partner in creating opportunities, but a villain to smear.
Donald Trump is a vindictive politician and a heartless man.
The President of the United States is cruel, dishonorable human being who would just assume they shoot somebody down.
He's insecure. He's a wannabe dictator.
Yeah, well, consider the sources. But, some of the criticisms have had an impact. Young voters seem pretty disillusioned with both parties, but in liberal New York, no surprise there, they voted big for Mamdani. In the 2024 election, we all remember Trump's numbers had edged up, a decent amount among young voters 18 to 29, and more so for men. But current anxiety is real, and Republicans should address, not blow off, young people's concerns. And here's the good news. They're not blowing it off. This is Vice President Vance, who's on with Hannity tonight.
A lot of young people are saying housing is way too expensive. Why is that? Because we flooded the country with 30 million illegal immigrants who are taking houses that ought by right go to American citizens. What we're doing is trying to make it easier to build houses, trying to make it easier to build factories and things like that so that people have good jobs. We're also getting all of those illegal aliens out of our country.
Solutions, not smears. Well, of course, Trump has also been urging Jerome "too late" Powell to lower rates, interest rates. The Fed chair has single-handedly cost the U.S. economy tens of billions of dollars, maybe more, by playing what looks like a cynical political game with interest rates. So, of course, mortgages are really, high for most people. They're unacceptably high. And meanwhile, Republicans need, though, to be optimistic that as the great American build-out continues, conditions will keep improving. Inflation will keep declining. Right now, AI data centers are already sucking up an enormous amount of our energy capacity, which, of course, is driving up costs. But that's going to improve. So when our energy capacity grows, and that's going to take a little bit of time, our electricity prices will start coming down.
The economy is my thing, and we have the greatest economy in history.
Are Republicans not selling it enough?
Yes, the Republicans don't talk about it.
So they need to do a better job on Capitol Hill.
The Democrats give false talk, and the Republicans, and I say it all the time, Republicans have to talk about the fact that prices are down.
Eggs, gas prices, they are down. It's true that others are up for a variety of reasons. And while Trump is fighting policy battle after policy battle, also forging peace in Gaza, forcing Europe to pay more for their own defense, all good stuff, he's also showing his heart for the most vulnerable.
As we make America great again, we are going to protect American children in foster care, and we're going to ensure that they will never, ever be forgotten. These children will never be forgotten, and they're going to grow up to be unbelievable, strong, smart, wealthy, productive citizens.
I love this. First Lady Melania Trump, this problem with foster care has been going on for decades and decades. No one seemed to have an answer. They're stepping in to help. That is a very good thing. So spewing like socialist slogans on TikTok and chatting up your celebrity friends on Instagram, it's cute, but it's also easy. Governing, actually helping people, forging real solutions to challenging problems, that is hard. It takes courage and guts, and that's the angle.
Hear that? Tick, tock, tick, tock. The Democratic Party's on the clock.
I think the Democratic Party, as we know it, is about to end. I think that this is the birth of the new left.
Schumer went to war without a plan to win, and now his own troops won't back him.
The Democrat, I think they had an exit ramp here, and now they've just shut the exit ramp down, and there's no, it's interstate that goes into infinity.
Chuck's working the phones, telling Democrats not to criticize the deal. This is the Biden cover-up all over again. Guys, don't say he's old. These videos are cheap fakes. But Democrats won't be bullied into silence again. One activist said this, quote, "The most minimal thing in order to pivot back to the election is to have one head roll, and that head is Chuck Schumer." Schumer hasn't been forced out yet, but Democrats are already looking for someone younger, prettier, and Puerto Rican.
He's worried about AOC, and AOC, I think, will take him on. I think I talked to her tonight, and she'll announce tomorrow. If she announced tomorrow, she'd raise $10 million over the weekend. They'd be throwing money at her as fast as it'd be record amounts because people are sick of Chuck Schumer and sick of him.
AOC is already measuring the drapes, and the Congresswoman says she's got a big tent, even big enough for ultra MAGAs.
I fully welcome Trump voters into our coalition. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but Just hear me out. I can't tell you how many times someone has pulled me aside. I was once a big Trump voter and a Trump supporter, and now I've learned, and now I've changed.
Yeah, and black lesbians are coming up to me and telling me they love the five. But who knows? Maybe that's true. People in Queens like to swing. You know, swing voters. By the way, where is Chuck? If these 8 Senate Democrats really did go rogue, shouldn't they be punished? Shouldn't Chuck be calling them out? The traitorous 8? But he's not, is he? Chuck put him up to it, then slinked away like a wuss. In politics, you never want to create a vacuum. Now the crazy wing is making moves on the upper chamber.
You're thinking about running for Senate yourself.
I am absolutely thinking about running for Senate, and I'm hoping to have an answer within my inner circle, probably within the next week and a half or so.
Worst case scenario, we have AOC and Crockett running the Senate. Young, brash basket cases who can't do math. And they're on a warpath. Jazzy says, doesn't matter who you are or where you came from, age is just a number.
There is this feeling within our base that we need to have younger people. I will tell you that I don't necessarily just subscribe to ageism. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, because even when you look at the votes and you look at the 6 Democrats that actually broke ranks yesterday out of the House, I can tell you that they weren't all elderly.
That's not just a threat to Chuck, that's a threat to any young buck. And since Schumer's MIA, who's gonna stop him? Hakeem? Hips is patting everybody on the back.
Leader Schumer and the overwhelming majority of Senate Democrats waged a valiant fight week after week after week, month after month after month, starting in September into November.
Fight? Democrats didn't even draw blood. Trump just said no, and then eventually they said, all right, fine.
They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have really hurt our healthcare businesses and our recipients at levels never seen before. Today, we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort, the Democrats tried to extort our country.
Nancy knows Chuck got rolled. They had to bring her out of semi-retirement just to call Trump names.
He pronounced that during Climate Week that this was a con job. This is a scam. No, Mr. President, you are projecting again. You are the con job. You are the scam.
The media knows Nancy's the real boss, and they were bird-dogging her all over the Capitol.
Do you still support Senator Schumer in his role as minority leader?
Yes, I do. Who I don't support is the President of the United States as the worst president for children America's ever had.
Nancy has one foot in Congress and the other foot in the vineyard. She thinks Hips is a hothead and hates AOC. Her and Obama put a nice coalition together, and now it's falling apart. The party's moving far left. They're going to primary electable Democrats, and these wingnuts are going to get slaughtered in the general and jeopardize flipping Congress. With the party scrambling, Nancy's pushing Newsom.
Gavin Newsom is being welcomed as kind of a rock star in Brazil this week. The world still needs and wants American leadership.
A San Francisco liberal is the one thing stopping a full commie takeover. It's already getting ugly. Newsom's former chief of staff was just charged with fraud. I wonder who was behind that. Ms. Dana Williamson's facing 23 counts for trying to steal $250,000 in campaign cash and funnel it to her friend. You know who started this investigation? The Biden DOJ. Her lawyers say that Biden prosecutors were asking about Governor Newsom, and she didn't flip. Wonder why the Biden administration was investigating the Newsom team around the same time of the coup. You think Kamala had anything to do with that? Kamala and Newsom hate each other. They're California rivals. They'll be rivals for the nomination in 28. The battle lines are drawn. Pocahontas ditched Schumer and went to New York to strategize with Kami Mandani. JB Back won't even listen to Schumer, but he did pick up the phone when Mandani called. Mandani's been working the phones. He chatted with Shapiro in Pennsylvania and Westmore in Maryland. The commies are making a national play, but Paul Revere in a hoodie is warning the whole party.
America's future and my party's future is not socialism or kinds of outlandish far left kinds of ideas. And it's been a year ago, after we lost the election, a lot of those parts and part of those ideas pushed our party over the cliff. And that's why we're in this situation right now.
Mondani, AOC, Pocahontas, they're not even pushing traditional communism. They're really not talking about the working class. They're pushing academic communism, communism for college grads.
The bubble we live in, you and I both live in, which is, I went to college, you didn't. Screw you. That is the attitude that I hear all the time. Town versus gown has gotten to be political. The people that didn't get to college are voting for Trump. Why? Because of snobbery and attitude.
White-collar communism won't cut it. Only 40% of the country has a college degree. These snobs don't want to help people. They just want to hurt Trump, blow up the border, and deprogram the deplorables in flyover country. If they really wanted to help the working men and women of this country, they wouldn't be talking about Epstein. And they definitely wouldn't still be stuck on the big, beautiful ballroom.
I've been a long-time OG anti-Trumper for a long time, for basically my whole life, adult life. Never did I get in my wildest nightmares literally taking it down a part of the White House, like literally just taking the White House apart. Like, he might as well have put like a little bomb in it and just blew up the East Wing.
TDS is at all-time highs. It's so bad, 40% of Democrat young women are considering self-deporting. The ones who aren't fleeing to France are staying here, just waiting around for Trump to die.
Joe Biden had a bad debate night, and the world exploded. Okay? That was all that was going to be talked about, all this other bullshit. And Donald Trump's physical and mental collapse is right in our faces every damn day. He is a guy who is physically and mentally knocking on death's door loudly.
Trump was ending the government shutdown at 10 o'clock last night. If Biden was president, he would have called a lid and opened it up in the morning. Democrats don't just want Trump to die. They want anyone who agrees with Trump to die.
I mean, the right would say really rough things and names. Some names I won't repeat on TV. But the on the left, it was like they want me to die, or that we're cheering for your next stroke.
Fox News alert: Senator John Fetterman took a fall and landed in the hospital this morning. He was taking an early morning walk, felt lightheaded, and he collapsed near his house in Pennsylvania. He was transported to a Pittsburgh hospital, and doctors say it was just a minor heart issue, and he suffered some small injuries to his face. Thankfully, Fetterman is okay. He even put out a statement. If you thought my face looked bad before, wait until you see it now. And we wish him a full and speedy recovery. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.
I'm so glad you got past that mob of female autograph seekers. Good evening, everyone. JFK's grandson, Jack Schlossberg, is looking to win the seat held by retiring Democrat Jerry Nadler. I think we have a picture of the seat. Good luck getting Nadler off that thing. Donald Trump announced that Veterans Day will also be known as Victory Day. He then said Groundhog Day will also be called Day of Mourning for that thing on Maxine Waters' head. This week was the start of the 35th annual Housekeeping Olympics in Las Vegas. Doug Emhoff is judging the competition. He's going to see who can make a bed the quickest before his wife gets home. He actually banged a nanny. It wasn't really a maid, but we'll just leave it there. Zohran Mamdani plans to spend $1 billion to replace cops on subways with social workers. He says most of that money will be used to pay for these social workers' funerals. Because they're going to be murdered on the subway.
Yes.
President Trump defended his plan to bring in hundreds of thousands of Chinese students, saying, I know what MAGA wants. And that's a great college ping pong team. Amy Schumer, the comedian, has removed all of her photos of when she was fat from social media, leading to accusations that she's racist against black men. Thank you. I'm going to wait you out. That is the best joke you're going to hear today. It's the best joke you're going to hear today. All right, and finally, residents of Prince Andrew Road in England are urging officials to change the street name due to the embarrassing association. However, I'm not sure if the new name is going to be much better. Yeah. All right, this is a great story. So a black lesbian walks into a town hall and asks a liberal congressional candidate to define what a woman is. And get this, her name is Hyman, and his name is Wiener. Sounds like I wrote this, but I didn't. And talk about destiny. But the congressional candidate, Scott Wiener, who's running for Nancy Pelosi's seat, gave an answer that would make Ketanji Brown Jackson sound smart.
As a lesbian woman who was attacked in a woman's locker room at Gold's Gym this week by a self-identifying trans woman with a documented history of domestic violence, I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-only spaces. What would you say to women who are seeking assurance that their safety will be protected from men who, by California law, can self-ID as women in women-only spaces, sir? Please tell me.
Yeah, so we want, everyone to be safe, and we also know that, we have trans people, both men and women, who are men and women, and so, so if you're trans women are women.
That is not an answer. That's what happens when ChatGPT throws up in its mouth. But the mob in the room cheered for him anyway. But Tish Hyman, the black lesbian with more balls than the WNBA locker room, stood her ground. So she'd just been harassed in a gym locker room by a self-identified trans with a history of violence. This fiend once broke his wife's jaw so badly that she needed reconstructive surgery, and then he took her name. That's crazy. Well, if you can't beat them, I guess then become them. But for the woke, reality doesn't matter. Ideology does. And whether you can be bullied into saying something you know isn't true. But Tish wasn't going to be bullied.
I want to support you. I have millions of people behind me watching this right now. And we want to know, are you going to protect women? Not trans women, women. Trans women are different things. Women. Listen, we need to protect women's safety. I was assaulted. I was assaulted. No, they are not. They are men. I was assaulted by men. He broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery. I'm a lesbian. I'm not transphobic, and I'm black. So if there's another black woman in here who wants to tell me how they feel, please join in. But all of you are not. And I don't know who you are, what you are, but I'm a lesbian, and I'm telling you right now, men are harassing women in the locker rooms.
Yes! She should run for Pelosi's seat. But she wasn't done dropping the hammer.
We have to protect women. We cannot be raped in the bathrooms by men that want to say they're women. They're not women. They're not women. I'm leaving. It's okay, but I'm not going to take it. I am leaving because you know what? You guys are not protecting women. You're doing a lot. The bills that you're passing for the law, I read a lot of them. They're great. But this things with the trans, it's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And my name is Tish Hyman. You heard me, sister? All right. Don't let them use our blackness and our civil rights as a reason to pass weird laws for children to transform. It's wrong.
Yes, that line, that last line hit harder than Joy Behar's ass dropping anchor on a booth at Denny's. Weiner, of course, is at the end of the slippery slope where men are women and pedophilia is the next alternative lifestyle. For instance, this guy once suggested Drag Queen 101 for grade schools. Because nothing says education reform like kids watching a hairy bald guy belting out Donna Summer hits in a pink and yellow onesie. Although I wouldn't mind that. Weiner's also advocated against adding adults who have sex with minors to sex offender registries, which I guess is a way better solution than jailing them for molesting kids. And here he is at a kink festival. I've seen better bodies in a scurvy ward. Not sure if they exist, but it sounds right, scurvy ward. But underneath his little costume, he is today's left, a shield for delusion. But when a black lesbian shows up and spits facts, suddenly the lefties there, they didn't know who to protect. It's their worst nightmare when the oppressed stop reading their script. Talk about a head-on collision as if Rosie O'Donnell and Katie Porter banged heads chasing down a hot dog cart. But Tish didn't come to make trouble. She came to make sense. She was polite, calm, even deferential. But she committed the one unforgivable sin of the woke. She placed truth over tribe. And it had Weiner blinking and sputtering more linguistic tofu.
I'm so sorry that you were
Multiple times.
And I appreciate you talking about it. I think we need to protect the safety of all women. And that obviously that's incredibly important. And I also know that trans women are also brutalized in this country. So women and cisgender women are brutalized in this country, and we have to protect the safety of all women.
Yeah, Scott, you care about the safety of women. And Don Lemon loves the Swedish bikini team. But it's all just cowardly deception. The left keeps using the language of civil rights to sell biological fiction. They've turned equality into a costume party, with women's safety being the price of admission. Because when you can't define a woman, you sure as hell can't defend one. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She went from the flaming lips to artificial hips. Host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. He's half Irish and half Korean, so he can drink and not drive. Comedian Steve Byrne. He's scrambled more brains than a short order cannibal. Host of the Good Guy, Bad Guy podcast on ESPN, Chael Sonnen. And in high school, she got a varsity letter for eye rolling. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor, Kat Tiff. Kennedy, you know what strikes me about all that whole exchange is how, not only how strong she is, but how incredibly weak he is. And he's running for Pelosi's seat, probably the only thing he's qualified for. I don't even know what that means. But you know what I'm saying. It's like he's awful and she's amazing.
Where Weiner meets Hyman.
Yes.
Sounds like my prom night, Greg.
You were just waiting for me to get to the end of my question.
Yeah. That was loaded in the chamber.
Yes.
She's been so patient.
Yes. Why didn't you call me and give me that for my monologue?
But you brought up something really important, and that's cannibalism. Because that's what we're doing. I mean, other than the fact that you devour black lesbians in your Pornhub history.
Yes.
The left gets to cannibalize itself, and we all get to see who they prioritize. Because, you would think that a black lesbian would be at the very top of the strata, and that's not the case. This guy has chosen to show that he's a misogynist and kind of a racist and homophobe all at the same time.
Exactly.
So it's like, how can a misogynistic, racist homophobe run for office in San Francisco, I think, doesn't that disqualify him?
Yes.
I mean, he's betrayed his bigotry with the choices that he's made in one single town hall meeting.
He's invented a new identity, and he's like, but I identify as a douchebag, so you can't attack me. He actually is on the side, Steve, of the guy that harassed her, the guy who beat up his wife, broke her jaw, and he's saying, no, that's a woman. That is not a woman. That is a guy gaming the system.
Well, not only did he break a jaw, but on video, he broke a hymen. So
No, the hymen broke him.
The hymen broke, yes.
Oh, yeah,
there we go.
You're right. Never.
But I mean, it says a lot about like California in general, where you're black, female, lesbian, and if you can't find a safe space in California, what does that say?
Yeah.
The way she commanded the floor, I have a lot of respect for her. She communicated eloquently. She stated her case. She was very, very grounded. She's black, lesbian. She plays her cards right. She could be the next White House press secretary.
Actually, she's overqualified. You know, Chael, I admired the way she did this because she was very respectful, and she wasn't scared. She took a risk in front of a mob. It was so clear they were against her.
Yeah, I also saw the courage in that. And when the Scrabble community of LGBTQ, they leave out the O for obnoxious. And one thing about that wiener is it was just so weak.
Yes.
It wasn't being strong. Like, it's a very real thing. Yeah. If you're a lesbian woman or a gay man, you say, here's who I am, here's what I'm looking for, and if we get to that point, you're not going to have any surprises. That's very real. And all she was looking for was some clear answers, and we just started playing a game, and there's no courage in that. There's no honor. The gold standard of reality used to be what happened, but now the gold standard of reality is, how did it make you feel? Mm-hmm. And that's weird. That's just not leadership.
Is that, you know, Chael, what happened to, like, I don't know how, when I was young, if there was a dude in a locker room who said he was a woman, somebody's dad would come over, beat the shit out of him. Somehow, are we ever going to get back to that point where we deal with this sensibly and just beat the out of perverts in bathrooms? Sorry. I'm sorry, but that's what you do.
That's the way that used to be handled. Yes, absolutely. Hey, when this came around, this was bipartisan. Obama started it, and it was candidate Trump at the time. And Trump goes, well, for Trump Towers, use the one you're comfortable with. Yeah. And that made a lot of sense in 2015. But now that we've seen, to your point, the gaming of the system, it's time for someone to get their ass whipped.
Yeah, it is about game. I think it's.
Why are you looking at me?
Like, just for backup, like for you to go, yeah, I'll come down there with you, like that type thing.
I like this lady. What do you make of her, Kat?
I don't think he handled her very well.
No.
I think that it should be a very easy thing to come out and say this person with a documented history of domestic abuse is bad.
Yes.
Like, you shouldn't want that to be like your poster trans.
Yes.
You know, and it's just speaking generally, right? It's bad to generalize people. And people on the left will say, not all trans people are predators. And I agree with that. It also goes both ways, though. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that just because someone is trans, they cannot be a bad person.
Yeah.
And if you start evaluating people with a lens where you're like, oh, person's this, so they must be this, then that's how bad things happen. You have to be capable of viewing a person as an individual.
Exactly. Every individual has the potential to be bad or good, and being in a group doesn't make you even less likely or more likely, unless you're me. I'm incapable of being bad.
Yeah, I do love the way you present yourself as like the guy standing up against perverts.
Okay. I appreciate that, Kat. I appreciate that. Yeah. I choose to take that on the literal sense, not in an ironic way.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.